What up, guys? Welcome back to another episode of the MN Talk Show. I think we're on, 13 now? 14?
12.
12. Okay,
12.
not even close.
Feels good
Anyways,
to be back, though,
12.
like with a normal episode,
Yeah.
not really like a Christmas special or like us talking about stuff.
So, but special guest today, all the way from South Korea, Zac Stover.
Whoop! Hello. Welcome back to Minnesota. Thank
Yeah.
you. Back to the States, for that matter.
Yeah.
Back to America. This first
Been a
time
while.
since 2019?
Yep.
Okay.
Does it feel good to be back?
It's weird.
Did you miss it?
It's real weird.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What makes it weird?
It's just reverse culture shock.
Yeah.
I've been there for so long. It's just, you come here, everyone's holding doors for you. Everyone's touching you. I can understand everything that everyone around me is saying perfectly. It's a little overwhelming at times.
Really?
Even just walking through a grocery store, you just hear all the small talk and you just absorb it.
Feel like a superhero.
Sure.
So let's talk about how you got over to South Korea in the first place. Because if you're coming back, and we're saying welcome back, you've obviously been there for a while. So how
Yeah.
did you get over there? What do you do?
So I'm over there originally because of my girlfriend.
Okay.
I met her in college, and while I was there, and I graduated before she did, and I decided for her last year, while she was still studying, that I would go abroad and learn about her culture so that I could understand her
Is
better.
she South Korean?
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Where'd you guys go to college at?
SUNY Oneonta in upstate New York.
Okay.
Sounds like some place from South Korea, if I'm being honest.
SUNY stands for State University of New York.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, when you said New York, I was like, did he say that right? Is it supposed to be a college in
It's
South
a
Korea?
abbreviation.
Yeah,
for it.
gotcha.
SUNY,
Okay.
SUNY.
So you met there.
Mhm.
She's from South Korea. How'd she get over to the States for school? Was it sports or?
She was originally studying music in South Korea, and then her and her family decided that studying purely music would kind of what's the word for it? She'd get stuck on a single path. She would only be able to do anything related to music, and so they decided she needs to do something a bit more broad but still related to it. And my school's program, and it's what I was originally studying as well, they have a music industry program, which is basically a business major that instead of looking at, say, just generic business goods, selling paper or this, they focus and they make their business models all purely on the music industry.
Okay.
So learning how to market music, how to market instruments. If you want, there's a whole minor that I was doing originally as well for an audio program there for recording music or even podcast related stuff or radio. So
So it's a big like music school, audio tech
yeah,
school.
it's
Gotcha.
one of their bigger programs there.
Right.
So when you went over to South Korea to learn the culture, did you fall in love with it right away? I'm assuming that's why you stayed.
So I went directly out of college, and I was only there for a year.
Okay.
And that first year was not good.
What made it not good?
I had a very bad first experience with the school that I was working for there. So when you work in South Korea as an ESL teacher, you have a couple of different choices.
You were teaching
what is an
English,
ESL?
right?
Yeah, English.
Yeah, is that what that
ESL, English second
Gotcha.
language. Yeah. So you have two main branches to go into. You either work for a public school or you go into the private education sector, which is what most people do. Public schools, you have to go through, what's it called?
Couple different learning.
It's another abbreviated thing, but it's a government program that you go through, and they just place you anywhere in the country, and then you teach at one of their schools. It's an okay gig. The private one, which is what I went through, I ended up teaching for something called a hagwon, which in English translates to an academy, and those are so hit and miss for quality of life and work. And I got a bad one. Gotcha. I worked for a really big chain there, and they just did not treat me well at all. not worth it.
Just treated you like a foreigner, like a person from the outside, kind of.
Kind of. It was more so they understand that there's a lot of people that want this type of job because it's interesting, especially for people fresh out of college who
Right.
just want to go and work and explore. So the wages were super low, and they just don't treat you well because they know you're disposable. You're very replaceable. So I got treated pretty poorly. There was a lot of really bad miscommunication that happened. Yeah, a lot of it came down to miscommunication.
Well, yeah, you're
poor
speaking two
management.
completely different languages.
Well, most of the people there, they speak English to some degree.
Okay.
Especially in the school environment, they'll be able to communicate well enough.
Right.
But even then, it's a lot of the miscommunication wasn't necessarily with Korean people; it was with other foreigners who were just like a head teacher, for example, which is where a lot of my conflicts were coming from originally. Was like, oh, this student's a little bit special. And then I walk into a classroom and the kid is slamming his face into the desk and like just salivating all over and gets up and starts screaming. That's a little bit more than a little bit special. And I understand
hard to deal with.
It's a little difficult to deal with. And as a teacher, I understand there's students like this. That's life.
Yeah.
That's part of the job. But
There's always a but.
when you are in that situation and you are told one thing, but it is degrees more severe than what you were told, that's where the problem comes in. It's like there are politically correct ways of saying that a student is requires more attention than others, or may act a bit more erratically than others. In the way that I just explained it, instead of writing on a piece of paper, oh yeah, Peter's a little bit special.
In what way?
Yeah, exactly.
Elaborate
It's
a little
extremely vague. Like, there's nothing wrong with telling me that a student needs
More attention.
more, or
Right.
that he behaves in X, Y, and Z ways.
bit more. Right.
It's just proper communication. It's all over the place, and that's one of the bigger issues with working at those style of academies is that it's everyone from every walk of life.
Okay.
People who are professionally trained as teachers. That teacher who told me the kid was special went to school for photography.
Those don't add up.
Yeah, you
That
get
don't make any sense.
No, it doesn't.
you get all walks of life. It doesn't really matter. Like I'm not from a teaching major. I studied music industry and switched into sociology when I was in college, which sociology kind of has to do with education, but I'm by no means an education major. There's a lot of stuff I had to learn on the fly just over my years of experience now, and just through, oh, I like this. Let's get some certifications going.
Yeah.
So it's very hit and miss with even other foreigners. Usually it's not the Korean people that are the problem, it's the other foreigners.
Right.
Interesting.
How many foreigners would you say are like in your system of like teaching, or like, and where are they from?
So if you want to teach English like as a language in Korea, you have to be from a English native speaking country. So the United States, Canada, any of the UK countries, including Australia and New Zealand, or South African.
Okay.
That's it. So if you are from, say, like Spain, but you are native level in English,
Language, yep.
you couldn't go and teach in Korea.
Gotcha.
It's not allowed. You have to be from a native speaking country,
Gotcha.
which
Interesting.
is it is kind of interesting because, to be honest, someone who learned English as a second language would probably be able to teach English as a second language better
Yes.
because they know the ins and outs.
Right.
They've experienced.
Yeah, the three of us, we organically learned how to speak English.
Correct.
You were in a human body at one point, and as a fetus, were being fed all this information and constantly hearing and developing things before you were even really a person.
Right.
And then you grew up just hearing it and being spoken at, and then you mimic it. And we the way the three of us would have learned how to speak English is very, very different than teaching someone, okay, this is the letter A, it says ah, you say it, okay, you can use A as a word, it's called this, you use it to show that there's only one of something, but you can only do that if it's a consonant. What's a consonant? It's very different.
Yeah.
Babies don't ask those questions,
Right.
but students do. So
What
Yeah.
age do you teach or like focus on the most?
I've taught everything from kindergarten up through middle school, but my preference is for kindergarten and first grade.
What's like the grading system and like the age levels? Like, do you have K through 12 or is it like?
Yeah, they have K through 12.
Okay,
cool.
And then they head over to college and whatnot. And
Yeah,
go from there.
Yeah.
Are colleges and high schools and stuff like that fairly similar, like the way they're built out? Like, you have a 9 through 12 and then like 6 to 9.
So the way here in the States, for elementary school, the grades, it's roughly the same. Most schools in Korea are going to be 1 through 6.
Okay.
At least for me, when I was in elementary school, it was 1 through 5. But I know here in the States, there are 1 through 6.
Right.
Middle school is going to be 7, 8, 9, and then 10, 11, 12 for high
Gotcha.
school.
Okay.
Gotcha. And then the
so kinda
colleges,
similar.
is the colleges fairly the same or are they?
Yeah, same concept.
Gotcha.
Yep, 4-year
Sweet.
degrees and everything.
Yeah,
Yeah.
super cool.
So
Then,
year 1 didn't go very good.
Yeah, that was awful.
You came back to the States.
Yep.
2019, you've been in South Korea ever since.
Yeah.
What pulled you back there to give it another try?
After coming back, my girlfriend and I ended up in North Carolina. And to anyone watching who's from there, why are you there? It's just boring.
a lot of
It
people
was-
say they love North Carolina though.
I don't get it.
Maybe as a vacation spot, but not to live there.
I don't know, man. I hated it.
Save me a trip.
Yeah.
Yeah,
so boom.
Look, people who love it, love it. It was not for me. It wasn't for my girlfriend. We missed a lot of the conveniences of Korea. She went back, and I followed.
Yeah.
So,
So you've been there ever since.
Yep.
What in the world is life like in South Korea? Where you live in Seoul?
yeah. So, yeah, I'm in the capital.
So that's what, 2 miles from North Korea?
About 2. It's a 2-3 hour ride from
Or
where
2?
I live.
Yeah, correct. Not miles.
Yeah.
Hours. So what is that like being so close to a country like North Korea? And then what's the difference between the two?
So, I mean, everything you guys are hearing on the news is probably like, oh, they're firing missiles. They're going to kill us all. Nuclear destruction is
Right.
upon us. Like, the news there also frequently writes about it, but they don't write it in such an extremist fashion. Like, yes, are they firing missiles into the East Sea? Yes, they're testing missiles. Are they firing satellites? Yes. Does that have any impact on my day-to-day life? Absolutely not. It's just part of what it is.
Yeah. It's
We
just our
really-
culture.
It's just
Yeah, we're not really affected by it in any way. There's been incidences in the past where they've sent balloons over with flyers and it's full of propaganda. South Korea this, North America that, because they are not fans of either country.
Aren't they filled with poop?
Sometimes, yeah, there's been incidences where they've filled it with poop, and it will rain down on people because the soldiers will shoot them out of the sky. And
So like, do you
Could you imagine being in North Korea and be like, you got to poop in this bag so we can send it to South Korea?
see, I want to know how they do it.
Yes.
because like if you look at like balloon openings are not
No, they're
big.
tiny.
They're like,
Let's fucking stretch them out.
and I mean, don't get like now Korean people are much bigger because they have better access to food than they did 50, 60 years ago. Like
Right.
there's high school students that tower over me at this point. But
Got it.
I'm like, even when they were like, North Koreans are probably a little bit smaller because they don't have as good access to the food and everything. But I'm like, how are you like?
Pooping in a hole that big?
You're not a rabbit turd.
Yeah, no, literally.
It's not gonna work.
Yeah.
Like funnel it in or something. Like cook it
Interesting.
down into soup. I don't know what they're doing to
Do
get
you
it
ever feel like the kids don't respect you because you're American or?
Ooh, good question. Yes, never. They're
Yeah, what's just
it's-
American doing here?
It's not necessarily because of the fact that we're foreigners. It comes down to stereotypes.
Yeah.
You know, a lot of the big stereotype, especially for white women and like me, like a white guy with blonde hair, is that these types of people are super nice
Yeah.
and friendly and kind and this and that. And it gets really ingrained. So when you're working with these students, a lot of the time their concept of you is a plaything. They see you as not, I don't want to use the word clown, that's a bit too extreme, but
Not a teacher.
there's
Like a doll?
they don't look at you as a teacher. They see you as their friend, which is also part of the issue with the parents. I've had incidences where I've written to parents and like, hey, your student Matthew is really loud in class. I had to talk to him quite seriously today about staying in his seat and not bothering the other students when it's quiet time and independent work time. Mm-hmm. And her response was, oh, well, Matthew's just a fun-loving boy. And if you treat him with love and give him hugs and this and that, I'm sure he'll listen to you better. Thank you. And I'm like, what?
Solve the problem?
No, you need to tell your kid that class time is class time. Like, I'm not there to be your kid's friend.
Yeah.
And there's that really big expectation of foreigners to be friends with their kids.
Right.
And another huge part of it is like, I've got my kids for maybe an hour a day. But outside of that, they're going to these academies, the English academies that I brought up, because I teach at a private elementary school.
Okay.
Now. So I'm in a bit of a different sector. So I see them an hour a day, but then they go to these hagwons, the academies I mentioned. And at these academies, they're built to make money. They're not there to teach these kids English. They're there to make money.
Right.
And so, you don't want to yell at the kids. You yell at the kids, they quit. Well, there's no money if the kids quit. So the kids learn there that, oh, teacher's a pushover. I can do what I want. I can say what I want. So as soon as they get into a classroom with other foreigners, even in a more traditional classroom environment, like what my classroom would be, they're just doing whatever they want because that's what they learn. They spend 3 hours at those English academies a day versus 1 hour in class with me. They're not learning that English time is English time. They're learning that it's playtime.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
So that's really where I think a lot of the big issues are coming from.
Interesting.
I can see that.
Are you a South Korean citizen?
I'm not.
How do you just go to the DMV over there and take a picture and be
it's a little more complicated than that. So for me, I'm over there on a visa. The visa system there is pretty strict. I'm on an E2 visa, which means that I am allowed to, and this is very important for what my job is supposed to be. According to the E2 visa, I am a language instructor for speaking and reading. That's it. I'm not supposed to teach writing. I'm not supposed to teach science related, none of that.
Okay.
You'll still be asked to teach all the other stuff. No one really cares, but according to the law, that's about all I'm supposed to teach. The easiest way for me to become a citizen would be to marry someone, pass a Korean language proficiency test and score relatively high, and then I have to live in Korea for 5 years, something like that. Don't quote me on it. I don't know the exact specifications because I don't know that I want to be a Korean citizen or not. It's a possibility, but I don't know that I want it.
So if you're a Korean citizen, does that mean you're not a U.S. citizen?
Yes. So I can't do
both.
dual citizenship. The U.S. is very peculiar about that. And South Korea is also a bit weird about it too.
Yeah, that's weird.
Yeah.
Is this something you ever thought you had to deal with, or like would think you'd have to deal with? Like, oh, I'm going to South Korea. Didn't know I had to get a visa. Like, I could just pop into some place and do what you need to do.
I knew about the visa thing originally because I actually was not planning on doing the whole Korean thing. That wasn't supposed to happen until I met my girlfriend. That kind of changed the Asian country that I went to. I was originally supposed to go to Japan. I had been studying Japanese for a year in college, and then I was like, screw it. Let's just go.
South Korea.
Some fun. Yeah. So that was the original plan, was to go to Japan. So I started looking up about teaching English over there as well because I had a bunch of Japanese friends in college, and they were like, oh, why don't you try it doing this? So I knew about the visas originally.
Right. Gotcha. Makes sense.
Interesting. What's the housing like over there? Is it like America? A lot of apartments?
No. Lots of high rises.
Really?
Everything is high rise apartments. Yep. For me, I live in a little rinky-dink one room. It's about 23 square meters. It's tiny.
What's that square footage for us Americans?
Yeah, so I guess you have to know metric system.
Yeah.
Do you see the size of this table? It's about the same. Joking.
Oh, I'm like
hey,
exaggerating. No. Little bit bigger than this room.
And there's a bedroom, a kitchen, and a bathroom in there.
It's a one room. so it's like a flat. It's a flat.
Like a studio.
Oh, so like a studio, like a
Okay.
small
Yeah.
studio.
Studios. Yep.
Okay. What's
The bathroom is separate. Obviously, that's got its own walls, but everything
Is it
else
like
is
a-
basically open floor.
I was gonna say, is it like a rec bathroom, or do you get your own private bathroom?
It's it's my own.
Okay,
place.
got it. Yeah.
what's do people like have homes? Is that like the top 1% rich that can afford it, or
no, people. I mean, it's really expensive over there.
Okay.
It's still super expensive. But no, people own homes. There's a couple of different ways of renting, though. Most people rent. Owning homes is for people who want to make money off of owning homes.
gotcha?
Yeah, but so I would say most people are renters, but because of the different styles of renting available in Korea, they are homeowners because of how it works. Do you guys want to hear about that? I can explain the two ways
Between renting and owning there.
between the two styles of renting, because it is a bit different from how it works here.
Yes,
Okay,
real quick.
and I mean you guys,
Dumbed down
you
version
guys, you guys
Yeah,
are
dumb
real-
down. For
Dumb
us.
down
for us
version?
realtors.
Okay, so the first one, it's called chonse, which is basically you make a massive deposit, and then you don't have to do monthly pay. The realtor or the homeowner then takes that money. They're supposed to invest it in something so that they make money off of this massive down payment. The other way is called wolse. Wol means month, and that's your monthly payment. You make a significantly smaller down payment, but you have a much larger month-to-month payment.
Okay, that makes sense.
that's-
So similar
okay,
to here.
similar,
Yeah.
similar.
Yeah. Well,
But the down payments are still massive. So I'm house hunting right now. And I'll be going in spring to start looking at places. For me, that one room that I'm looking at is about a $10,000 down payment, followed by 500 monthly payment for rent.
yikes.
Chonse, that big one, is for like big houses. This is going to be your like 3, 4, 5 bedroom apartments. That's like $300,000 to $500,000 down payments. But it's like $100 for rent.
So a lot of it is like upfront payments instead of like pay over time.
Huge upfront payments, and it's supposed to be beneficial to both people. The benefit is that you're not really paying rent. You've made this massive down payment,
Yeah.
and then the realtor has this giant chunk of cash that they can then invest into another room. They can go buy another apartment with that big down payment that you gave them, and they can continue to making money off of that.
So do realtors own these places over there? Do they have like we're brokered by EXP? Do they have a broker that like they pay, or is it like they're like landlords in a way?
They're more like landlords.
Okay.
But it depends. I think it depends. I don't know. At that point, that's where the details get a little hazy for
Yeah.
me, because most of my housing has been provided by my job.
Right.
This is going to be actually my first time really venturing out to look
Nice.
for my own place. So for that type of detail, I actually don't know.
Yeah.
Well, lucky for you, you got 2 realtors right here.
Yeah.
I got referral partners over there. Just let me know.
Well, so we got the housing, travel. Do you own a car over there?
I don't. Cars are really popular.
Oh.
But if you own a car, there's a slight like luxury tax that gets tacked onto it, so you end up paying more because there's no space.
True.
There's no room.
Are they
for 'em.
small cars or are they like pickup trucks?
In a perfect world, they would all be driving like Kia Mornings, which are these little compact
Prius.
2-seaters. But Prius would be really good for there, or like Fiats or something.
Okay.
Everyone loves big cars.
Yeah.
I mean, it's the home of Kia and Hyundai, so you still get pretty large sedans, SUVs on the road. But then there's some other, I think they're a European brand, but you'll still see people driving around the monster pickup trucks on these
Okay.
tiny little roads. It's a mess. It's scary. I don't know why people drive those things. Someone owns an Escalade near where I live.
Really?
That's weird to see on the road.
Is that like a Lamborghini in Minnesota, kind of, or like a Ferrari riding around in Minnesota?
I mean, you'll see like Aston Martins driving around in Seoul.
bad.
Like Aston Martins are popular. You don't see them all the time.
Right, but,
That's
like,
still
during the
super
summers.
luxury. I see a couple of Lamborghinis in my area.
Okay.
Porsche is super popular over there. So they have cars. You can get all the big luxury brands. Audi is super huge. Benz. Everyone talks about having a Mercedes.
Yeah.
So cars are a thing.
Okay.
I don't like them. I just use the trains and the buses because they're there. They're super cheap. If I want to go all the way across Seoul, it costs me like $1.50 right now.
Dang.
Yeah, super
Really?
cheap. You can just keep riding and riding and riding.
What's currency over there?
Won? Yeah.
What does that
Korean
convert
won.
dollar to like?
Um.
Because it's a little bit more.
If I brought like a $50 American bill over to
Oh yeah, so that worked out with Christmas. I was able to kind of explain that to Nate. So if you have if you have like $50, it would come out to I think like $63 or something like that.
So it's won is worth a little bit more than.
less.
63.
Oh,
so like,
yeah, okay.
And
okay,
it's all based off of thousands too.
right.
So the translation sounds weird. So you wouldn't say you have like 63 Korean won. That's nothing. That's
Yeah.
you could
That's like
buy
pennies.
literally nothing. But that's less than pennies.
Oh shit.
1,000 won is equivalent to roughly a US dollar. Right now, the conversion rate's pretty nice. You can just pop like a quarter on top of it.
Oh,
so like
cool.
for every $1 US, it's like 1,250 Korean won.
Is that hard to like think out in your head when you're like, or like when you first
People
did it?
ask me questions,
Yeah.
I have to think a little bit about it. And when I'm on top of it because I have to send money home every month for just U.S. expenses
Yeah.
that still exist.
U.S.
so,
expenses. What does that entail?
like student loans, that kind
oh
of stuff.
yeah, okay.
So
Okay, we're back at it. Sorry for the technical difficulties. Technology is a wonderful thing, but
Terrible.
a terrible thing at the same time. I hate it. But anyways, what in the world do you do for fun in South Korea?
So I'll split this between what normies do and then what I do.
what classifies a normie?
Yeah.
Not
Born
me.
and raised in South Korea?
Not me, I guess. No. I do Muay Thai.
Oh, fighting.
Yeah, I fight.
I like how you knew that because I was like,
Dude, I have a buddy that does that, and he goes to South Korea and comes back.
oh,
I don't know. It's like Taeyang, his name. You might not know him. You probably don't know him.
Probably not. There's a lot
Go.
of Korean people. Yeah, that sounds like a relatively Korean name. But yeah, I do Muay Thai, which is it's a martial art from Thailand. And that's what I do. I do that and I exercise. I'm very into kettlebells and other kind of alternative exercise styles.
CrossFit type things.
Kinda,
Yeah, I gotcha.
interesting.
What is Muay Thai like?
Muay Thai?
Because it's not like they use it in the UFC, right?
A little bit.
You see
yeah.
yourself fighting in the UFC one day.
I don't want to do UFC. I don't like MMA.
Okay.
But I really like Muay Thai. I was supposed to start doing fights this spring, but my gym is unfortunately closing. So
Oh,
I'll have to
no.
find a different place to fight out of. But yeah, that's fun. More often than not, I'm walking around with some type of black eye or bruises or cuts and whatnot.
Well, you look good today. I do kind of see one under your left eye. That's,
I'm
like,
just
kinda
really
there.
tired.
Yeah.
I don't
Oh,
know.
I get that. Oh, shit, my bad.
So, yeah, that's what I do. And I do that like 2 hours a day. So
Yeah,
I
it's
don't
a
really
lot.
have much for anything else.
Do you party? Do you bar hop?
Not really. Everyone's
Is that a thing out
sometimes.
there?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yes. So that's when we get into the normies. Yeah, party culture in South Korea is massive. Their whole thing, everyone just works ungodly hours. So then they have, they call it Burning Friday. You just go out and you just
Go at it.
you burn.
Yeah.
You relieve all of your stress. You drink and drink and drink and eat and party and dance and go to clubs and go here and go there. It's a thing. So yeah, younger Koreans they party hardy.
Brothels?
Yeah.
Hardy.
No, prostitution is illegal unless you go to Suwon and there's a red light district. Cough, cough.
Wow.
Oh.
Cough, cough.
Bring him in.
That's not hilarious, but that's funny at the same
No, it's a
time.
thing. It is technically illegal, but yeah,
Yeah.
the city south of Seoul is called
Yeah.
Suwon, and yeah, there's a big red light district.
Really?
Interesting.
Wow. Is that a thing throughout South Korea or just that city?
So it's
Like, maybe you don't
it's
know.
a thing. No,
Yeah.
it's definitely a thing. That's not the only
Yeah.
place.
Yeah.
Seoul also has it. A lot of times you'll be walking around, you'll just see open stairwells that are relatively unmarked, but they're very well lit.
Okay. That makes sense.
Probably a brothel. You'll see a lot of massage parlors.
Probably
Brothel.
brothel.
Probably a brothel.
So I'm guessing
Stay
you've
away from
never gotten a massage in South Korea.
No.
That's funny.
I gotcha.
So what's the like demographic out there? Is it flat mountains? Is that the right word? Demographic?
Demographic is people.
Oh.
Never mind. That's not what I meant. It was a
You're
topographic.
talking about,
I love how we both thought it was.
Yeah.
You're asking about the geography.
Geography.
that
Thank
one.
you. Same
That
thing.
one. We're realtors, not teachers.
Hey, English.
So yeah, geography, very mountainous.
Pretty
super,
or
super
like
mountainous.
foggy?
Depends.
Yeah, depends on the day.
The weather's pretty similar to here, so
Okay.
it's sometimes it's rainy,
Right.
sometimes it's sunny.
I get,
Snowing?
I get you.
Yeah, it'll snow.
Snow.
Got a lot of snow on Christmas. It looked like they just had a really big cold snap. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, you were telling us about that. So everything's metric system over there.
oh yeah,
Did you have to learn all of that? Did you already know it? Like, how was it? The conversion hard at the beginning? Obviously, it's like kind of what you refer to now, but
you just kind of get used to it.
yeah.
It's people will be like, oh, it's 3 meters away, and they'll point at the thing, and you're like, okay. You just get kind of used to
Right.
people explaining things in that way, especially with the temperature too. After you've lived there for like the first year, you just kind of get the
Get used
grasp
to it.
on it.
Yeah. Kind of how everything is. You just adapt.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's not too bad to get used.
Grocery stores.
Grocery stores.
Is it similar?
Grocery
Different?
stores.
Food? I want to know. Like, it's like,
It's not too indifferent.
no?
Yeah, it's
You got like big freezer aisles that you walk down?
there's freezer sections there. I guess the big difference would be that the rice consumption is so big, so there's a massive section for just rice.
That's funny.
Like there's just all different types of rice. You've got white rice, brown rice, black rice, mixed grain rices, barley, this, that, and the other thing. So
Wow.
you'll see that would be the biggest difference, I would say. But outside of that, no, it's just the
Kinda
produce
similar.
section. You just don't have as much variety.
Yeah.
Like here, you might have like 5 different types of potatoes. In Korea, they grow 1.
Right.
That's it. Yeah, and there's like sweet potatoes.
Do they
Yeah.
import stuff?
Yeah.
Okay.
A lot of meat gets imported, makes it a little bit cheaper.
Yeah.
Korean beef is really expensive. It's
Okay.
not like Kobe level, but Wagyu is quite expensive. It's
Because of the geography.
Yeah,
You
it
can't,
comes-
you know,
I
you
was gonna
can't
say, I'm gonna
grow.
yeah,
cow-
it's,
like
it's
a-
too mountainous.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can't really grow cows on mountains because it's kind of like a high school prank here in the States. People would bring cows and animals in and bring them upstairs because they won't go down the stairs.
That makes
You can't grow cows on
Yeah.
mountains.
Yeah.
I don't like it.
Makes sense.
Um,
Is goat meat big there? I'm sure they have mountain goats.
It's not huge, but yeah,
It's there, yeah.
we eat goats and sheep. Obviously, dog consumption was a big thing for a long time, but they're really close to banning it. I think it's officially banned as of the beginning of this upcoming year.
Weird.
Yeah, so
Have
that's
you-
finally gone.
Tried dog?
That's a thing?
Oh yeah,
Yeah, that's what he was. Yeah, dog.
dogs.
Remember, like it's a running joke, like, oh, like,
Yeah, I thought that was a stereotype.
no,
No, that's
Oh,
the thing,
shit.
homie. Yeah, no, that's the thing.
There we go.
dog
That's the thing.
Sorry.
Dogs, yeah, woof
Yeah.
woof. Bark.
in the oven.
Sticking Fido in soup.
Oh,
No,
Oh,
it's-
that's so weird.
it's
Do they have dogs as pets?
yeah. But
that's why.
it's
Isn't that why they're trying to ban it?
Yeah, they're just getting used to having them as pets. But it's not like they're going on the street, they see a Dalmatian and they rip it into a restaurant. Like they have specific breeds of dog for consumption.
Makes sense.
You know, they're not gonna go take Bailey from Nate's house and cook her into a soup or something. Like it's
See, dog.
they're not gonna just toss a pet in there. Like there's
Yeah.
specific breeds.
That makes sense.
Well, couple
Wait,
more.
one more. Well,
Okay.
I got one like right
Okay.
now. So you've lived there for now 5 years almost. You told me you don't speak fluent Korean, but you
Yeah.
have to be able to speak some,
Yeah,
correct?
I can speak some.
What's your favorite sentence to say in Korean?
My favorite sentence?
Or like
I can give you my favorite word.
Yeah, sure.
It's pogi.
What is that?
It's to give up.
I'm gonna poke you today.
It's a silly sounding.
What is like? Hi Nate, great to meet you.
You would just say like 안녕하세요, 반가워. 아니, no, hang on. It's you're putting me on pressure.
I know. I'm sorry. I'm
It's fine.
sorry.
It's not script.
I wasn't expecting to
Yeah.
do
I'm sorry.
this today. No, it's okay. It's fine. 안녕하세요 is hello, and then 만나서 반갑습니다, which is we met, and I am grateful,
Oh.
or I'm thankful for meeting you.
Cool. That's such
Say that in a sentence, like just fluent or not fluent, but like without the breaks in the middle.
안녕하세요. 만나서 반갑습니다.
That's so cool. I know that was your favorite part about today.
That made my day. All right, keep going.
Okay. What is one thing that you miss from America the most when you've been living over there?
Something I miss from here: Cheetos.
They don't have them out
Cheetos.
there.
They have Korean style Cheetos.
Oh, they're not the
and
same.
They're
not
just-
American
They're not the same.
Cheetos?
Korean snacks are always very sweet.
That was so simple. Why can't everybody be like that? I just miss Cheetos.
Cheetos, man.
I miss Cheetos because they have basically everything else,
Yeah.
and I like their food. So, to be honest, it's weird. There's a lot of people that come to Korea, they can't eat it. They can't eat any Korean food. They hate spicy food. They don't like vegetables. They don't like this thing. They don't like that. They don't like the taste of sesame seeds on stuff.
Because they're so picky.
picky and
yeah.
Like they're expecting to eat like a plain boring ass steak with some plain boring ass potatoes and like green beans every single day. It's like,
Jeez.
homie, like it just
Expand your variety.
really, really, like it's rough. Like there's one of my friends back there. He every day sandwich.
I was gonna say, do you have friends over, like a group of friends, or
It's
like?
just me.
He doesn't have friends.
No, I've got friends.
Do they speak English?
Yeah, I mean
They try to.
Yeah. I've got Korean friends and then obviously foreign friends.
Yeah.
So
That's sick.
So-
I love that.
Hunting, fishing.
fishing. It's not popular. Old people do.
Okay.
So I'll teach you guys a Korean word.
Yeah.
When you're talking to, I'm about to become this thing too. People generally, 30 over, the word for them is like ajashi. It's like a middle-aged man, ajashi. So it's a very ajashi thing to go fishing. You go out, you bring out, and they don't casting, like cast fishing using like a fly bait and stuff like that is becoming more popular, but they use a lot of like cane rods
Okay.
for river fishing. They'll go out there, they'll set up like seven poles, and they'll just sit and drink for the entire day.
That's awesome.
Yeah. You don't need a license for it either. You just go
You
out.
just go
You
out.
might be approached by someone who works for the park, and it's like $20 for the day or something. So it's real cheap. And they'll just give you a receipt in case someone else comes by to ask.
Very
Not
cool.
bad. That's kind of sick. It's weird. We should
Yeah.
definitely go to South Korea.
That's where part 2 is, man. South Korea.
Dude.
How long's your flight to get to South Korea? I guess back to the States.
Too damn long.
Short and simple.
It was with the layover. I had to stop in Seattle for 7 hours.
Oh, you go that way.
But the flight was from Seoul to Seattle. What was it? 9 hours, 10 hours, something like that. Then a 7-hour layover, and then 3 hours to get here.
This is gonna blow like all the flat earthers.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
You
you're right.
don't go straight.
No,
like
you go up and over.
Like Alaska almost? Like you go towards
yeah.
I get that.
You follow the coast and the that kind of Bering Strait that's up there, all the little that underwater mountain range that's
Right.
over there. Yeah, you follow that line all the way down.
That's super sick. Is that what you expected the first time you went over there, or do you think you were just gonna?
I didn't really think about it, to be honest. And then they with the airline I use, they have little screens on the back, and you can watch where you are live.
What airline do you
And,
take?
the one I used from Korea was Asiana.
Okay.
Asiana.
They're really good. It's a big plane.
Yeah, they're big planes.
It's not like a big double decker, but it is sizable. They've got the 3 rows, so they're pretty big.
Nice.
Dude, we have to go to South Korea.
I'm telling you, part 2. You just gotta fork up some money to get a plane
Well,
ticket.
I got 9,000 points or something. We just got to spend $6,000.
Hey, simple.
We can do it. Shopping spree.
That's funny. Well, last one for you. Best advice that you would either give yourself, somebody else. What is it?
Don't give up on things because they're hard. I not regret, but there's some stuff from my youth. Like I started wrestling in middle school, and now that I'm really into martial arts, I'm like, wow, I really wish I'd stuck with wrestling because it's really cool. It's really fun. I wish I'd stuck with like trombone. So just if you think you like something, stick with it. It's really important to not give up on stuff. Like I'm sure your guys' first podcast was probably a little bit rough, but obviously you're sticking with it.
Yeah.
And now it's clearly you guys are more comfortable with it. It's way better than whatever you guys started with. So even if you suck at something to begin with, like just follow through, stick with it. Don't just give up like, oh, it's too hard. Just do it. You have to do it.
I love that.
So
That's
like it.
amazing.
Don't give up.
Probably one of the best ones. Don't give up.
Don't give up.
Keep it rolling.
Well, hey, we both appreciate it.
1,000%.
I mean, thank you for personally flying just for us
Yeah,
to
of
South
course.
Korea.
Not that it was Christmas.
Not
or
was
anything.
Christmas at the visit family or anything, but hey, we truly do appreciate it. You have a super cool story. We'll definitely do a part 2, either us in South Korea or when you come home in the next decade.
yeah, in the next
again.
decade we can have
Yeah.
a part 2. I'll have more stories to share.
So, yeah, well, thanks, man. Appreciate it.
No worries. This was a lot of fun. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
See you guys later.
See you guys.